Welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Trek. Today we'll be doing a spoiler review on Clifford Simak's Catface, A.K.A. Mastodonia.
But first, a quick recap.
Let's go!
The story begins with the reunification of two people who apparently are star-crossed lovers. They spent a wonderful
nights, together.
A wonderful time
You can't marry a man you just met. You can if it's true love.
staring across an archaeological dig at one another in Turkey years ago, and she has creepily tracked down him in the middle of nowhere. The main character, as Steele, shares a nigh to presumed passion with Lady Rila Elliott before having to deal with the aftermath of his fateful pupper having been shot by a Stone Age arrow. We are then introduced to Hiram, the unfortunate who appears to have some sort of learning disability which causes him to come across as a bit simple to the townsfolk. However, it appears that manifests as some sort of Dr. Dolittle power that comes with his autism, and he's able to communicate with animals. We find our protagonist is trying to dig up the remains of what he believes is a spacecraft which crashed thousands of years ago. This also leads to the introduction of the eponymous Catface, who manages to drop us back in time to the era when mastodons roamed the earth. He's rescued by the efforts of his faithful doggo, and they're able to return to their own time. So not only has Asa Steele happened upon an alien creature from beyond the stars, but he's also fallen across the greatest discovery in human history, the means to travel through time and explore the history of planet Earth. Both our main characters appear to have archaeological and historical bents.
That belongs in a museum!
So of course, the first thing they decide to do is work out how to make as much fucking money as possible from it. Capitalism, ho! Whee! They bring in support on this venture in the form of the town mayor, one Ben Page. Their first expedition into the past is a safari with cameras in order to capture video evidence to convince the potential investors. They also figure on taking two enormous elephant guns with them in order to take down the mighty dinosaur, specifically the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The expedition comes to fruition with two of the massive beasts being felled, and all captured on film by Rila.
Hit your heart on Channel 5.
All proceeds ahead full. There's a great deal of interest and things snowball quickly. Enter the lawyer. The lawyer decides, hey, the best way to take advantage of this and to avoid the taxes you'll pay to the IRS is set yourself up so that this out-of-time continent is actually a completely new country. So therefore, you don't have to pay taxes.
What a twist!
Interest explodes in the time roads, bringing specifically two parties into play that stand out from the rest. The senator and the religious representative. The religious leader is particularly interested in holding exclusive rights to the lifetime of Jesus Christ. Basically creates a two-way power play for the faction, allowing them to study the man to confirm whether he's either divine or disprove his divinity.
He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy!
But also prevents others from doing the same, thereby safeguarding Christianity against challenges to its validity. The other person is the American senator, who plans to ship off all the disenfranchised people of the US into the past and literally sweep them out of time under the rug.
What a twist!
No! It's just dumb.
All on the basis of giving them a fresh start.
Yes, and that's everyone in the ghettos, with all that implies.
Meanwhile, a safari group that was already using the portals has failed to return on time. Investigations find the skeletal remains of the group, which leads to some questions being asked of responsibility and safety of those using the portals. Things snowball out of control, and eventually arguments with the government result in a travel ban, completely waylaying the plans of the couple to monetize the system. And further problems appear when Catface, the person or the alien who is enabling their travel through time, decides, Now is the time to ascend to a higher plane of existence, closing off access to further time roads and completely scuppering the entire plans altogether.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Then Asa discovers, oh yeah, I can travel through time. I can make the time roads myself. And then it stops.
The end.
Loves and hates. I enjoyed this story in as much as how cracked out it kind of gets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the initial like half more than the second.
Yes.
A lot more than the second. I did like Hiram, and like you find out a bit about his backstory and stuff. I did like that aspect, and sort of like learning about the town and how he's getting other people involved. The town's getting richer with him.
But that's the thing. I mean, I was expecting it to be a Boomtown story.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly there's a massive interest in the town, and then eventually, this is what I was expecting from the narrative. Perhaps cliched, but I was expecting it to be a story where they do something to mess up the situation, and of course that then crashes the town's economy because it's all been built up on the idea of, oh, we've built hotels for people to stay to investigate the time roads. We've built up a local industry, kind of like Roswell in some respects. It's like, come see the alien.
Yeah. I mean, like, it did have, like, the starting part I probably liked most because it had the most potential. But to go on to the parts I disliked, it wasted that potential into going into odd areas. I mean, maybe some, like, realistic areas, but odd.
I think that's where it failed for me as well, because it felt like it was being far too realistic and less of a story.
Well, it was like sort of pseudo-realistic, because like when they're banned from like anyone coming into like Mastodonia, none of the like government comes and like at the border and stops people. So they just carry on going backwards and forwards.
I mean, that's going to factor into nitpicks.
It's like,
yeah,
you know, at no point the government tries to take control. At no point does, you know, the police get called to like get back the waves of people. No one tries to climb the fences and run into the time. Nothing. So like, there's certain realistic points it just glosses over.
Yeah.
And it seems it's more concerned with not paying tax. Like, because that seems to be a major point to it. Don't pay tax.
It's not a commentary on capitalism and the evils of capitalism. It's more like try and take advantage of the government and the IRS and try and screw them for every rent cent that you can get.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's fine. They're the government. You don't have to worry about screwing them out of tax revenue. In fact, here's a legal loophole that allows you to not pay anything. We'll bring the lawyers in, we'll bring the accountants in so that everything is like, oh, we don't have to worry about responsibility for dead Safari members because we got them to sign a waiver. And there's never a case of, oh my God, people died. It's more a case of, not my fault. I got them to sign a waiver. They took their own responsibility. And there's a certain amount of, wow, that's almost as disconnected as to be sociopathic.
But no, I get what you mean. But it's also the time travel aspect. I don't think it capitalizes on the time travel aspect. Because it sort of goes to...
ironic set of words.
Well, yeah. It sort of goes to two, like, areas of time.
Two areas, but potential for anywhere in time.
Yeah, I mean, like some are like 1,000 years apart from each other, but it's like technically still the same sort of time period with dinosaurs they can hunt. And like it feels like it's a nice initial thing to do, like get hunting parties. It's like, all right, this is where you get your seed capital, so you can actually do stuff you wanted.
Yeah,
like do your archaeological
there's the thing
stuff, and that never happens.
Yeah, the research aspect, the research grants, the historical exploration. It's kind of, we can do this. We've just got to get some safaris together to raise the capital for it.
And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
The idea of, okay, we'll sell the rights to certain times. We'll sell the like exclusive rights to the birth times of Christ. That was what.
Well, like
got
that's
me.
thing, they wanted to buy that just to stop anyone to going back to it.
Yes.
It's like, okay, sure. But no, the other thing comes near the end, which is the Senator's
Plan.
Oh
boy.
And what happens to it, and that's
again,
just,
it's like the ethical. Again, ethics bordering on ethics. What ethics? He's like, yeah, we're just gonna take all the ghettos, we're gonna take all the undesirables, all of the, the scum, and we're gonna throw them into the time portal, and they've got opportunity to create a brand new life for themselves in their own area, and it's like,
but like,
wow,
you get like, I mean, from like the main character, Asa. He's like, oh, they won't want to do that. They're all feckless.
Yeah.
But they don't want to work a day in their life. They just want to sit on their arse and collect benefits.
And yet, he's got Hiram, who he obviously treats as...
Probably as good as he treats the dog.
It's kind of disturbing to the extent at which he is treated like a mule. He's treated like he doesn't deserve any of what he gets.
Let's don't get me wrong. Hiram comes across as sort of almost the best, just because he seems to be the most happiest person in it.
I kept expecting there to be the other shoe to drop. I kept expecting it to be like, stop treating nature as something to be exploited or mined and see it for its unspoilt beauty.
I mean, I almost expected Catface to go, why do you want all this?
Yeah.
Like,
but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's like the one point where they go, oh, one beaver, one fur coat, and I'm like, stop treating the animals like there's some sort of like I was half expecting there to be a point where it's like, oh, we've got dodo for dinner, and they turn out to be the ones that made the dodo go extinct, or they're the reason.
Well, that's the other thing. We never get a clear conclusion if them going back in time has any effect on.
Well, exactly.
I think one of the biggest problems I had was the crash site, the UFO crash site, which is brought up. He just does nothing with it. He sort of stops digging.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like when he goes back in time, he loses his gun in the crash site. You'd think, oh right, if he digs a bit more, does he find
the remains of his gun?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would have like a cause and effect.
I was expecting that as well.
And I thought, this is a clear, setting up something so you can have the payoff. Nope, does that.
Yeah. It wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really, really bothered me was the ending.
Yes.
Suddenly discovering, oh, Catface is gone, but I can control time now. Nitpicks.
Should we go on to nitpicks? Because I have a few. First of all, he says he finds a dinosaur bone and he sends it to a university to have them look at. Now it's a dinosaur bone. It's not a fossilized bone, which is every dinosaur bone we found.
I think he said there was flesh on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an actual bone, like calcium bone. Like, that should have rung immediate alarm bells, and the university should have been down there instantaneously, almost.
Don't mess with me, I'm an archaeologist!
Because this is a real life bone.
Yes.
Not a fossil.
The idea that there wasn't an immediate descent of every single scientist in the area. It's like there's been new life discovered, even if they don't categorize it as dinosaur, which, you know, you've got two people that spent a few months working alongside each other in an archaeological dig in Turkey, and they say, yeah, you can clearly tell that's a dinosaur. And it's like, so a specialist would immediately go, holy shit.
Exactly. It would be the biggest discovery there is.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I mean, not only in paleontology, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, but can you imagine it? The scientists all turn up, it's like, you found a dinosaur bone.
Yeah. But they want to know every bit of detail.
Literally turn 90 degrees to the left, and it's like, fuck me, an alien! There's literally two of the biggest scientific discoveries in the history of mankind. And the idea that, well, I mean, that brings me on to mine, honestly. It's like the idea that the government would allow that to be in private hands for even a microsecond.
Yeah.
The idea that his entire farm doesn't get eminent domain straight away, he doesn't get pulled in by the fucking military intelligence and interviewed as to where the fuck did you find this thing, that Catface doesn't get autopsied.
I mean, especially when they find out, he announces, oh, we can time travel. It's like, I'm sorry, you could destroy whole, you know, governments, civilizations, anything you want.
Yeah, you could literally, you could lead, well, just like the thing of killing Hitler, there is no reason that you couldn't lead a massive technological attack force back into the past, or even just feed.
I mean, but this was like, what, 76 during the Cold War.
Yeah.
The thing is, as soon as he would announced it, Russia would have probably immediately declared war.
And nuked the area to stop it from...
Oh, we're not letting Americans get it.
Yeah, because an American strike force being led, especially, it's like, okay, Hitler's, even if you leave World War II, Hitler's dead. You basically go back into the past and go, so Russia's going to be a problem from about 1945. So what you want to do is you want to take out these key people right away and install CIA in-placed agents so that you permanently have Russia under your thumb. Completely change history. But again, the time travel aspects are never explained to the point of...
Does it actually have a consequence?
Yeah.
Is it actually the history of the current world you're living in, or is it
a pocket universe?
Yes, of like a multiverse or something. It never answers that question.
Yeah, and
like it sets up things like things where it could easily do that. Just nothing
like
with them.
With the shotgun in the pit.
All right. Have you got any other?
I found. I've already mentioned this earlier on, but I found the idea that suddenly learning how to communicate with Catface about, I think it's 2/3 into the book where he suddenly learns how to communicate, and it takes Hiram completely out of the story. That felt contrived as fuck to me. And like I say, I kept expecting there to be some sort of morality payoff or something with Hiram. It's not necessarily a nitpick, it's just it just felt contrived, because Hiram at least had the explanation of being maybe this learning
Yeah.
difficulty. I'm going to treat it as autism or some sort of autistic spectrum disorder. But something that he had made him unique in that he could then communicate in ways that other humans couldn't. And then that takes, when he's suddenly able to communicate with Catface himself, Asa, later in the story, and it's like, well, then that makes Hiram's...
Yeah, he just sort of nullifies him completely.
Yeah.
Well,
And what was to stop Catface from approaching someone earlier that wasn't Hiram?
Well, that's the thing. It's also, you know, Catface shows him like this alien city and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, Hiram doesn't understand. What he doesn't understand, there's a...
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt... I'm sure Hiram would understand at least to some extent. He could maybe explain, and you go, oh, right, you know what, but he's just like, I don't understand what he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, complex mathematics. Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. But like,
but it's imagery.
Showing,
yes.
Yeah, showing him imagery. Like, this is an alien city. Like, he
It's
knows what buildings are.
It's a pretty building, yeah, exactly. You've got a lot more than I did, because those are probably the two that I really
like,
had a problem with.
Yeah, to be fair, I could go into the dinosaur... I don't want to say facts, but the dinosaurs...
The feeding
portrayal,
areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, like, because one of them is described as carnivorous when they're a vegetarian. Yeah, I mean, like, there are a number of little things. Yeah, like, I don't want to say nitpick, but this is sort of what broke me, and none of the characters addressed it. Like, right, we're going to evade tax by living in a land where there's no other humans, but there's saber-toothed tigers, bears, mastodons, and what was it? Dire wolves.
Yes.
I've only encountered dire wolves in D&D. I didn't think they were actually a thing. Like, oh yeah, we'll live in that place in a small, like, caravan.
That's what amused me as well.
Just to not pay tax. And no one said, hang on a minute. That sounds stupid. Is there anything else we could do apart from that?
Not a great plan.
Why not do, if you really want money, why not just do the fucking compound interest trick?
Yes. Or just invest in stocks. Like, there are tons of ways to make as much obscene money as you want because you have a time machine. And it's like, no, we have to evade tax.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, bleeding hell.
It's an imaginative idea, but it's not imaginative enough.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you have a time machine. You literally don't need money.
But yeah, there are other things, like they managed to build an admin office and a hotel within about a week.
Oh, yeah, yeah, the power of American contractors. It's like everything just went up in such a
it's like
quick time.
They're having trouble getting enough guards, but oh yeah, we can get these contractors in to build all this in a week.
Oh yeah, it's like half the guys we got working on the hotel. We'll spin those off to put a fence around your 40-mile property or whatever it was.
Yeah,
or 40 acres. Oh, the longer we talk about it, the more silly it gets.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Like, that would be somewhat of a recommendation in a perverse way.
The other things, I wouldn't say a nitpick, but I would say later on, the more problems I had with some of the language.
Okay.
just because I didn't fully understand what it was trying to say.
Have you got any examples?
Yes, one example. I ran into Earth in the orchard on the farm. It's literally what it says, and it's like, I think I get the gist of it. It means he found him in the orchard on Earth, but I don't know why he said, like, I ran into Earth.
Oh, it's like a different way of saying I gone to ground, or
Yeah, I would imagine that.
yeah.
It's the same probably for we had to stand off the bulls.
Yeah, that's like to sort of hold them back or push them. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's just oddly worded, some of it. And
But
like,
I think some of it is very well, it's
some of
rural
it's-
American
yeah.
dialect.
but
'cause-
also some of it's fallen out of use, like on the prod,
yeah,
which apparently is American gangster, means looking for trouble. It's the only thing I could find on it. But
I just like the fella that was hunting coon.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking he's walking around his orchard looking for cartmen.
you didn't find this one funny. We shagged him out of there. And that was talking about Stiffy,
Yes.
the mammoth.
Is that the part where he's trying to beat the mammoth off with the stick
So we're just done with phrasing, right? That's not a thing anymore?
because he's eating all the carrots?
No, I think they used buckshot and they like chase him away. And he says, we shagged him out of there. I think it's that point. It's like, I mean, I thought shagged meant dance in America or some
Oh, behave.
beautiful dance, but yeah, no idea. I know what it means in English, but
I mean, I suppose birdshot would do nothing to a mastodon.
yeah, because they were saying they were just using him to like shoo him away, and they knew it wouldn't hurt him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'll go on to final thoughts.
Yes. Just from what we've talked about, I think, yeah, there would be a perverse sort of recommendation in read it, because if you wanted to just see a prime opportunity of someone who's had an idea but completely wasted the potential of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with everything that we've just discussed,
It's either completely wasted potential, or it seems to be locked in a time period that is so sort of, I don't want to say distance from us, but it feels almost surreal and, in a way, alien.
yeah.
Or maybe unbelievably too cynical to be human, you know. Might be a better way to put it, but
Unbelievably cynical, but written with such conviction,
Yeah.
such fervor. The idea of, it's my private property, I own it, so therefore the government can't take it away from me. And it's like, no.
yeah.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever read this book again,
No.
because it's got so much wasted potential. Like, the first half, it's like, okay, I see what you're trying to sell. I see all this bit. This is okay. This is good. And then Courtney comes into it, and it's just like, oh, have you thought about tax? And then it just descends into its own sort of butthole. And it's like, oh god, no, stop. Just, and the ending's just, it's like, have you learned nothing?
That ending really wound me up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've learnt how to do all of this, so we can completely go ahead with all of our plans. We've learnt squat. You know, we can continue to completely harvest the natural world outside of our time zone.
And also, I've made the time portal in the car park so we can just ship them in by bus and throw them in. They don't have to come through our place of home.
Yes.
You know.
Can't have the riffraff clogging up the back garden. What? It's like, fuck you, you arrogant bastards.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. By the end of it, I sort of disliked everyone apart from Hiram. He's the only character I could.
The dog
probably like.
The dog.
I mean, yeah,
too.
the dog's just. Yeah, dog's a dog. But yeah, everyone else, it was just like, no. Let's hope they get lost in their own time portals.
Eaten by a T-Rex. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Next week, we'll be tackling a Star Trek book. The New Earth series, Wagon Train to the Stars. Book 1 of, I believe it's 6.
Yes.
So, join us for that.
Yep.
Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it.
Hopefully we'll like that better than this one.
Yes.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye. I'll see what I can do.
You know, like, in the middle of the book, the biggest, evil, most deadly threat raises its head. It's called the IRS.
I thought you were going to say the lawyer. You've learned absolutely nothing. You now have the power to control a potential, therefore, extreme amounts of abuse.